Hello there, commanders, and welcome back to War Games Institute Tournament number 2. We are in quarterfinal number 2, battle number 2 between War Games Institute team themselves and SUNTZU. We are on Capitoline Hill, and as I have essentially borrowed my intro from the National Cap, I have realized that I haven't really mentioned that the previous battle was taking place on Salernum, and there's actually quite an interesting story tied to that, which I definitely should have covered in the previous battle and not this one, but well, that didn't occur to me, so the damage has been done. I'm watching all these battles for the first time, so I can't really re-record a video just because I forgot to mention one story. So the story is that SUNTZU and SUNTZU actually screamed each other before this tournament to essentially prepare and train, which is, well, the definition of a scream. But we screamed each other on Salernum and, well, on Gergovia, but apparently both teams have felt much more confident on Salernum, so it's actually pretty interesting to see that, yeah, both teams have gotten quite a lot of confidence on Salernum out of those scrim results. And maybe I'll one day show you those screams, or maybe I have already shown, because, well, scheduling videos is a thing. But let's get into the analysis. Both teams this time are going to commit quite heavily onto C, so this time War Games Institute is not going to give it up, and they have already put elephants up with their dogs, are suffering quite a lot of damage, but also doing quite a lot of damage themselves to those Iberian rebels. That is pretty good counter to elephants, but they can't really get to an elephant because there are 3 units of dogs in front of them. They're also pushing through to the archers, just through the elephant and glaives, kind of ignoring them. I mean, you can ignore an elephant, you can't really ignore the glaives, but they have been held in place, and now the archers are going to be forced away. Those spinning hoplites have their ray shields, they're pushing forward like that, and the archers are essentially forced back. But there are also pikes and glaives coming in for the Chinese team, and pikes and elephants are absolutely 2 best unit types to control point, and it looks like the French team is already running away. Now let's analyze the overall strategy. We do have pike player over here for the French team, and yeah, realizing that the Chinese team is essentially, okay, yep, we are not getting that point against pikes, let's just shift our attention to C, send some reinforcements over there, and make sure we do capture C. But as I already said, SUNTZU are already running away because they're doing a weak, strong flank strategy. Instead of sending roughly equal forces everywhere, they are sending only 2 players over here onto the left flank that are very good at defending, and they're sending much more forces over here on E in hope to hold onto A while capturing E. Which, well, we'll see if that is going to happen. They're definitely going to hold onto E as the Chinese team have recalled their attack essentially, and do have quite an advantage here. They do have their archers now activating from the shadows, which is going to be much better when it comes to friendly fire from back of their own units. But still, Folksmen, very weakly armored unit versus heavily armored legionaries. They even have that in their name. But if they do play their cards well here, they should be able to hold on to it. But 2 elephants are coming in from the Chinese team. So if those elephants are going to be put on top of E, and also 2 more units coming in, actually War Games Institute may be able to hold on to that point. The archers are not really providing that much damage. I would definitely take 3 units of Folksmen or melee infantry over that, or just elephants themselves, as they didn't pick them, so yeah, they definitely could. And now, this is a very interesting dynamic to see here. The French team, seeing that War Games have retreated away from A, they have pushed forward to secure a little bit more ground, and again, stakes, violating the rules that... So, are you going to... Okay, that's just a misclick. Yeah, that's essentially cheating. So I don't know what the appeal process was again, and maybe it wasn't appealed after the first battle and only after the second battle, that's why it's happening here. Or maybe they have just completely ignored the appeal and yeah, you have told us to not bring stakes, but we still did that. But now, SUNTZU have actually been caught off guard. Here it was a very good turn to defend. They could have just, you know, created a triangle, which is essentially what they did. And now, as they have pushed forward, they have been caught off guard and actually were able to be flanked. So now they need to bring back the units quickly, heal them up, bring them on top of the point before it is too late. So definitely retreat the spike unit, bring back the unit that is about to die over here, and start bringing this unit over. What the hell are you doing? Destroying the stakes?
A new capture point has
Pushing
become
forward,
available.
maybe they try to back up D, but you should assume... Wait,
Our capture
they're
point
clicking
is
on,
contested.
they are in pike phalanx, but they're not. Well, okay, that's weird. But anyway, let's keep focusing on the other strategies of the battle, right? So yeah, after the elephants and pikes have come over here to E, and well, the reinforcements have arrived as well, it was clear that SUNTZU Reconstruction are not going to take E. So they have retreated, they have gone back to heal, and now they will most likely look again to launch another powerful attack, synchronized attack, rather than sending a unit over our unit. That we see, that we have seen other teams doing. Well, depending on which chronology you are watching this tournament in, because if you just now started watching, you don't know of the SUNTZU battles of this tournament. So I guess a little bit maybe spoiler for that, but not that big of a spoiler. So most importantly here, what's happening is that Wargames Institute is keeping associated Coinstar forces away from point C. So even though there is fighting going on nearby, it is not happening on top of point C itself, which means that no points are being denied from Wargames Institute, which then leads them to keep growing their advantage as they get 3.3 points per second. D is now being contested by those spikes that were kind of lost in what they wanted to do. And what is quite bizarre to me is that Wargames Institute didn't really press their advance over here. After catching the 3 units over here off guard, they could have definitely gotten that point. But Healing Zone was here, and since the concern have rotated their units, healed all of them back up. So maybe they didn't want to risk that. And again, they don't really need to take any risks as they are in the advantageous position. And the defenders have huge advantage whenever they defend a point. So you hold 3 points, just defend all of them, and you win, right? As long as you don't actually let them contest. Because in theory, as we actually see happening right now, even though Sales Draconis Starum have only 2 points versus 3 of Wargames, they are actually now getting more points per second because they contest 2 of the points. So that is one way of coming back, to just constantly keep contesting points even without capturing them. But you know, you would need to keep that up for a very, very extended period of time. And every time you do it, well, you don't have a healing zone anywhere near. Here's the closest one. The next one, base. The next one, A. The same will be true here for C, right? You have healing zones here, here, and here. Nowhere near close. All the defenders have it here. Again, same for D, right? As for E, as the battle is, so the battlefield is pretty much symmetric in that regard. So you do need to capture a point, essentially. Contesting is not going to work in long run because it's just going to drain your forces. And in the war of attrition, well, if you can actually heal that attrition much faster, you win, right? Unless it was perfectly denied, and then that would lead to a point capture anyway. Or at least maybe even then, I mean, technically, if that healing zone is denied all the time and nobody's healing there and nobody's respawning there, and maybe the attacking team is sending and healing back up and taking that 2 to 3 minutes walk, then maybe, but we are in reality and not in an idealistic land, and in reality defending the point is much easier, and yeah, the heals are going to go through pretty much no matter what. The Chinese team is doing here a pretty good job at preventing French team from retreating. One player did manage to recall, so he saves a little bit of time and maybe can shift to a different flank. They can go to the center, they can go to D and try their luck elsewhere. But looking at their team composition, they do have barbarian infantry, they do have folksmen, they have dogs, and those units definitely prefer to fight inside forests. So no wonder they keep focusing point E over point D. They do have pikes still here, they still have their armed legionaries in here, they're not really going anywhere with them. One unit is being sent to C, and now this is quite a big frontline battle. We do have actually an archer duel, a little bit Kenane versus Ambiorix over here, but Kenane is caught off guard by foot companions on Miltiades. That is quite an unusual pick. We don't really see Miltiades anymore in tournaments, even though Miltiades was the single best commander back in a wargaming version. Now his value has dropped quite significantly because of the game mode change, and now units who are much better at longer sustained combat are preferred. But we still do have horsemen and their explosiveness, so let's see if they can provide any of that. Do charge, find a flank, but other than that, I'll definitely throw Scorch Earth in here. Not being thrown? I didn't see any fires. Oh, that's Boudica, so no wonder I don't. Okay, they have decided on Boudica Foxmen that they do provide rebellion to other units. Those other units are already depleted and running away, and they don't have a healing zone over here, contrary to a healing zone that could have appeared here. And well, that's definitely one of the changes I would like to see. So the healing zones are there for the attackers. Even despite all that, the points are being still quite close. So this is a concern: keep contesting the points and preventing at the same time War Games Institute from contesting any points. So they're doing pretty well for themselves despite losing the initial part of the battle. But that initial part of the battle, the initial stage where you know, the point captures are being decided, especially C, is really key, and especially that's true for Capitoline Hill, because if you capture C at the beginning, it's definitely, or at any point really, it's very difficult to get it back for the other team to recapture it, because you do have a healing zone here on top of the hill, and well, you are essentially on top of the hill. There's one ramp here, very easy to block. One ramp here, very easy to block. You have two watchtowers warning you of any movements, and then, well, you can attack straight forward here from the base, but even then, there's still quite a narrow advance, plus the healing zone is much closer and very difficult to deny. You'd essentially need to capture a side point and then try to attack from all the directions, and even then, C would be extremely difficult to capture. So once you lose C, I would like to see Caesar Construct try to drop attacks on C. On this map, they're really hard to make work. So they should try to capture a sign point, either E or D. But then, if C is being controlled, that's another healing zone. So even if they deny this healing zone or this healing zone, the C healing zone is still present there. And as you can see, that is in the works right now. They are attacking D. So they're doing what I would like them to do, and they're pushing through stakes. They're suffering quite a lot of damage doing that. Approximately 25% of their health point being lost due to those stakes. So yeah, that rule violation is definitely paying off for War Games Institute. And yeah, even if that healing zone was denied, even if somebody tried to heal up here, that healing zone is still present, and huge reinforcements can come in. So, well, so this is the concern, is definitely not capturing that point. Even 2 versus 1, that would take a lot of time. If you cannot route the unit, if you don't have melee number advantage, and not routing the enemy units, well, it is going to take quite a while, especially Sula, Fortify, Proscription. That guy is not going down anytime soon. The French team is also sending their reinforcements over here. Well, there's still no match to what War Games Institute is sending. On the contrary, they do have quite a huge advantage over here, and now as one elephant is being taken down, another one is soon to follow, most likely. Where is the third one? That is quite an important factor. Actually, don't see the elephant anymore on the battlefield. Oh, here he is, on top of the watchtower. Okay, so now the elephants have been removed from that flank, essentially. He's already being walked back to the healing zone. So this is a question really need to be fast. don't commit any more units than necessary to take that an elephant, or even ignore that elephant. Just don't kill him, because if you kill that elephant, it will be brought back here. If you just ignore that elephant, it will need to just retreat and have less HP. Maybe it will deal some damage as you walk past, but now that attack from SUNTZU is really desynchronized, see? Because they have committed quite a large force to killing that elephant instead of just ignoring him, or just taking down a little bit to irrelevant HP. Yeah, now they have units already attacking E, and units still healing, or just barely now escaping the healing point. So SUNTZU are definitely doing the right thing. They're trying to capture a side point. They have given up on C, so they have actually taken my advice from the future. So that's really nice to see. They have correctly identified that on this map you're not capturing C once you lost it. So now they're trying for a side point. They're sending some units over here to try to deny the healing zone, but the elephants are already coming in, all three of them. And they again don't have really anything to deal with them. They have archers, but archers are not dealing that much damage to an elephant. You need pikes, which are still on the other side, defending the point, and you don't have javelins, and you don't have your own elephants. And elephants are essentially the best counter to all other elephants. So yeah, that's arena balancing for you. But yeah, you need an elephant to counter an elephant, essentially, because everything else, well, it can deal some damage. It isn't very effective. Pikemen, it's very difficult for pikemen to catch up to an elephant, unless it is some kind of coordination through the team. And even then it's still difficult because they need to watch out on friendly fire, right? And javelins, well, they can just be walked towards. So there's that, and they need to kite, and it takes, again, a very, very long amount of time for them to kill an elephant. So the fastest way to kill an elephant is bring your own, which is something that, well, the French team isn't doing. So that's a drafting mistake that is now paying dividends, making that battle that much easier for Wargames Institute, who have drafted elephants for themselves. And yeah, maybe they just don't have an elephant player, but I think Blinkton plays elephants as well. I don't really know their players that well, so it's hard for me to tell whether they do have an elephant player in there or not. But if they do, they should have definitely taken elephants. Well, the elephant is now exposing its rear, so it is going to die. So that's good for SUNTZU, but again, reinforcements have arrived in time. You do have access to healing that is not being denied. Again, elephants would be very, very good at denying healing, because every other unit can just be stopped before it reaches the healing point. Everything other than elephants. Well, elephants can be stopped with other elephants. So again, that just further feeds into my point of elephants being the best counter to elephants, and you should definitely bring them. Because elephants can contest the points for free. They don't care about how many units are defending the point, they will just walk on top of it and deny you the healing point, deny you the point gain, and they can also do the same with the healing point, right? They just walk on top of it and deny the healing from almost all the units that are on top of there, depending on how many are trying to heal. So yeah, here we see Wargames Institute applying some pressure over here onto A, but given what the French team was doing, that maybe not be entirely necessary, but now it actually pays off as well. Because the Construction players were dying on this flank instead of healing up over here or respawning over here and deciding to try to repeat the attack. They are now trying to find it also and essentially outmaneuver the Chinese team, betting on, okay, they're still a little bit entangled here in engagements, but still majority of them are already going back to heal very wisely, done by Wargames Institute. But maybe they can catch them off guard in the transition. Maybe it will be faster for SUNTZU to spawn in here, kill whatever is here, rush D, right, before Wargames Institute can retaliate and push B, especially since you still have some units still here left going back to heal up as well and reinforcing the point. And you obviously have the advantage if you defend, right? So it is difficult to push forward that advantage for Wargames Institute. So yeah, that's again a pretty good tactical decision out of SUNTZU. The question is, can they actually pull off the execution? I see those Foxmen have gone down quickly, but they disengaged, so that's good. They didn't get routed, they didn't get killed. So now they're very quickly going to heal up on that point that is very, very close to the healing, to the capture point and where the fight was happening. And they still are holding the Chinese forces away from the capture point itself, so no point gain is being denied. But it is being denied on B. The Chinese team is slowly approaching the victory with 3.3 points per second. So yeah, the French would essentially need to deny all the points and need to get on top of C again to at the very least deny the point gain from that. They will need to push back here and start denying point gain from E. And as they don't have cavalry at all in their composition, they cannot send a unit to do that. They don't have a fast unit to do that. They could send Volksmen maybe, but well, not when there is a line of infantry spotting and stopping any such attempt. They're trying to do that over here on D. They finally have dealt with the pikes, almost, but now they're pushing forward. The Volksmen have healed up, essentially sacrificed themselves to deal as much damage as possible. Now they're pulling through pike phalanx. They're really desperate, but that is still correct decision. You do not have time to really deal with those pikes. Just leave it to units that are sort of being stuck in there. Just use the Volksmen to do that. Which again, that unit of pikes is doing so much damage. That is essentially the price that the French team needs to pay as they're finally making their way on top of D. They're going to deny the healing zone with one of the units, but as soon as that player reacts in time and stops that one unit in front of the healing zone, that healing zone is essentially not going to be denied. And even then, if that fight happens on top of the healing zone, you can still just maneuver in such a way that you put a unit that wants to heal somewhere away from that fight and you will easily heal anyway. So yeah, D is being contested, so only 1.3 points now, as C is contested as well. B is going to be lost though, so once that's locked in, point gain is going to go up again, up to 3 points per second, and only 300 points away, now up to 4.5, because C is no longer contested. So yeah, the Chinese team is going to win literally in a minute. So as a concern, still desperately pushing D, but at this moment where B is locked in and securing at the very least 2 point, you control 4 points and if you have only 2, I don't actually know what kind of point gain that is, 2 point something, 2.6 I think. So yeah, there's just no mathematical chance of doing that, and even then, if you contest B, if it wasn't locked, E would be locked because B is still captured. So yeah, that is a victory for War Games, and they're going to advance to the semi-final where they're going to meet SUNTZU. And SUNTZU haven't fought in this tournament yet because well, their quarterfinals opponents didn't show up. So there's that. So this is going to be the first test for SUNTZU, and we'll see if they will be able to beat the War Games team, who have shown, well, quite good prowess in these battles. So sad to see SUNTZU as a Constraint team to go, especially since we scripted against them, so I was rooting for them to meet them in the semi-final. But well, fate would have it that the War Games team is advancing. Fate, the rule violations with the stakes that have been essentially foregone. Well, it was still good to see good tactics. Again, I am watching these battles for the first time, so when I said they should drop C, I had no idea whether they're going to do that or not, but they did. So, great minds think alike, or maybe stupid mind things alike. Well, if you flame one side, you have to flame the other, so your choice in the comments below. I'm quite happy with this battle. Good to see SUNTZU playing well. Unlucky they lost C, and yeah, that's another one of those battles. Point C was captured, and that was it. Okay, B was captured at the very end of the battle, so there's that. But other than that, no other point was captured. That just speaks to how much the defenders have an advantage. And point B was only captured because that was at the very end of the battle and the French team was getting desperate to do something. And well, that's why they have given up B, trying to get D. So yeah, that's why that happened. And they also fed a lot of XP to the Chinese team while they were constantly trying to attack E over and over and over again, and same with C and a little bit of D, right? So yeah, that perfectly sums up as the battle ends. So I will see you until the next episode on Arenas Battlefields Commanders.